What's up, guys? Welcome back to the SPL. Weird day so far. Your thoughts, GTR?
Yeah.
That rhymes, by the way. I'm a poet and I didn't even know it. Go ahead.
Yeah, the first, as we see the results here, honestly, Dream beating Deer, not really surprised. Dream is a very solid player, but Reality beating Dark, that has probably have to be one of the big surprises.
I'll tell you what, though, man. Deer has been playing better than anybody else in Pro League so far. So even then, Deer beating Dream, or Deer losing to Dream there, that's pretty crazy. We have not had a normal expected game so far.
And they haven't been cheese fest at all. They've just been solid games where players have seen the correct timing and they've taken advantage of the flaws that, like, Starcraft 2 is such a sophisticated game that one mistake you can, your opponent can take advantage of it and lose the game. And like when we saw there with that last game, Reality versus Dark, Dark played really strange. Like, his Ultralist attacks were very suspect.
Yeah.
Like not combining them with the Zerglings and Banelings, and also, but give credit where credit's due for Reality. He played that game quite well.
Yeah, I mean he was sick, no doubt. I mean the tank contain was good, the harass was good, Darkness couldn't keep up with it. Over here we have got Solar up against INnoVation. Now INnoVation has not been the INnoVation that I'm used to casting, and I'm sure you guys are not used to watching. I still got faith that he should end up kind of organizing his Terran understanding overall as time passes. So I still think he's probably the favorite here. But then again, a lot of people are saying Solar is, you know, the god of Zerg right now in Legacy.
Well, INnoVation is undefeated in Pro League so far, which is actually quite a surprise considering that INnoVation
it's individual leagues.
Yeah, his individual leagues been very poor, but he's managed to win games for SKT when it has had to count. So, very even predictions here. Myself, Chase-Star, Valdez, and Wolf going for Solar. Everyone else going for INnoVation here. So
yeah, I just feel like, I mean, for me personally, I just think INnoVation should win this, but
the thing is, it's INnoVation, but it's Solar you're playing against. But
that's true. Let's see what happens, guys. This is game number 3. All right, it's on. And on our big-ass map in the bottom left is Solar. And in the upper right, in the orange, our Terran player, INnoVation. So, I'm going to state this right away here. This should be our longest game today.
No doubt. I mean, look at
the spots on the map. This should be a fantastic, epic game. It doesn't really behoove either player to try to do a timing, except for maybe with Nidus from Zerg.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see Nidus actually because of the distances. But
that's totally possible. But if it's not that, this should be a long and dramatic ZVT.
Yeah, cross spawns. It's a long distance between the top left, top right, and bottom left.
Yeah, and so it just generally, if you were to try to attack into the other guy, chances are that you would be losing, especially if it's early on, because the distance it takes to travel on the map is
they're not hiding their faces.
They were smooth. They were so fast. Let me tell you something. Those people have a connection, guys, okay? We should all grow up and be in relationships like those two have, okay? They immediately knew how to handle it.
Yeah, because like most of the time when the couples get on the camera, they either hide away, or they do something really awkward, and we all have a giggle every once in a while. But
that's right.
Those two were on point.
They were on point. Now let's see who's on point more so in this game here.
Star 2 League. Oh, okay. He wants to go watch the StarCraft 2 League, I believe. If my Korean translation skills serve me right there.
I think when you look at this map, man, I want to know what is the best way to go into late game. Does Zerg really want Ultras as badly on this map? I mean, it seems like Zerg are pretty much always doing it, but this map's so big.
Yeah, it's so big that you'd want to be working with a more flexible army that can move around, for example, Mirling Bane, because Mirling Bane is like the composition that allows you to move around the map quite well, and especially with creep spread, It's going to be real easy to creep spread on this map, by the way, because the distances are so far. We've just got to see how Solar approaches this, but Solar has been favoring Ravager Roach compositions in ZVT, so we'll just have to wait and see.
Now, Solar is somebody who could Nidus here. He certainly could. One thing, let's say if he does Nidus, just to get this part out of the way, you got to be careful not to lose any Overlords on this map.
Yeah, those Overlords are pretty key.
Yeah, because if you lose those, then the odds of the Nidus working are just almost zero.
Well, you can't even get vision into their base, so...
Yeah, you'd have to do it like right outside the front, which has worked before.
It has worked, but...
not to great effect, but you know, sometimes it's like, it's so antithetical on the map to think of rushes in general that one rush that you could do might be the play.
Like, a game from memory, Leenock likes to do Nidus plays on this map quite often because of how the map works out, but from what I've seen so far in the past couple weeks or so, the Nidus plays have been slowly being solved by the opposing player, and
that's the way it should be, I think. Yeah. It's not like that should be staying around for the rest of StarCraft 2 history. I mean, usually stuff like a Nidus play or these other all-ins, they tend to be effective because the game's so new. Other players don't have the timing or the practice mapped out to try to deal with it.
As we see here, Solar taking that third base there at his third base. I don't know how else you want to explain it. I thought he might have tried to build the expansion at the high ground to his right, but it looks like he's just content with taking that third base right there. As we see, Solar actually now starting to spread out a creep as well.
It is important to note that the fourth base is easy for Zerg to take on this map too.
Yeah.
And frankly, the fifth base is not that hard for Zerg to take. So Zerg can pretty much sit back. The difficulty that Zergs have had a lot of times on Legacy, though, is trying to push a Terran and break him. That's one thing that really concerns me here for Solar's sake on this map is, you know, let's say you get the Broodlord, all the Ultra Tech, or the Ultra Tech, excuse me. You know, how do you finish them, right? Both those armies are clunky. Terran still has the mobility on their side to drop, to harass, and it's going to be interesting as this game unfolds to see exactly how they handle that. I think INnoVation does have his work cut out for him as just a Terran in general, having to push on a long map, but I don't think the theme behind that pushing would be very different from anything else that we've seen here throughout StarCraft 2.
Yeah, I'm really curious about INnoVation's thinking behind leaving those Hellions at his ramp instead of using him to harass the Zerg. I think he might be scared of some sort of Zergling all-in or something like that, so he's just leaving those Hellions there at the ramp, and now he's moving out because he can just, he's got his third base taken without too much of a hitch, and now he can use these Hellions to help assert some map control back into this game for him.
Okay, so he's moving out now, going to the 2 watchtowers. He wants to clear that up. And this Overseer is going to be taken out, no problem. This may trigger Solar into taking another base here. Creep spread, by the way, incredibly important on this map, as the more creep spread you have, and you can get that out pretty far if you're good, the more mobility you're going to have to get around the map. We've seen a lot of Zergs when their creep's taken out in the mid-game and late game, like all over the map, just not able to ever go finish off the Terran, and then usually the Terran can try to map out some other way to get a win later on.
Yeah, for sure. As INnoVation's just happy just sitting on these 3 bases right now. He's not even thinking about taking some of these creep tumors out. And if you leave that creep spread unattended, it can bite you back in the butt.
I think that's what he might be doing.
Yeah, he might be doing this now. Yeah,
right
as I said
here.
That.
He's going to be coming out. This is, you know, well, he has the 2 medevacs out. He's going to have 2 more in a second. So he has enough that he can attack and do damage. And you notice 1-1 completes right as this is all very nicely timed out build. This is definitely a build you guys, if you're Terran, would probably want to use on this map. So he's going to come out here now, and he's going to scan here, and he'll probably rotate down to the bottom right and try to get that creep as well.
Yeah, so actually, if INnoVation's not careful here, he can get his armies around. And actually, Solar coming in with his army and picks up, doesn't take too much damage, and these Mules aren't able to take out that medevac.
Well, problem, though, is that he's also not going to be able to get these medevacs back home. Yeah. Now he's going to drop over here. He needs to drop on the high ground and the low ground. INnoVation perhaps getting a little bit greedy there. More Hellions going to come up here and drop down on the low ground. He needs to target down these Mutas as much as he can, and he's doing a great job of that. Okay, that was nicely done. I don't know exactly how many Mutas were killed there, but you know, if you get 3 or 4 of those Mutalisks in a fight like that, that's pretty big.
Yeah, it adds up once you get into the later game.
Losing Mutas is kind of like losing medevacs. Even though they don't do the same thing, it's kind of the same amount of impact where, like, you know, you have a lot less choices and you obviously have to remake them. Zerg can't, you know, after starting mutas, just decide to stop all of a sudden under most circumstances, especially this one where we're going to continue to have a lot of medevac drops throughout this game.
Yeah, as we were talking about at the start of the game, whether Solar would go for Roach Ravager or Mutaling Baneling composition, we see here he's actually going for that Mutaling Baneling that I was predicting. As we see here Solar trying to do some damage, attacks his gas, but he'll have to move out once these Marines come back to deflect. And Solar's going to take that 4th base as well, relatively unharassed. I thought INnoVation might want to drop on there, but looks like INnoVation's just happy trying to power off these 3 bases right now.
Yeah, well, I think he wants to win in the long run with a big push coming up here and just slowly pressure the Zerg. A lot of Zergs, when INnoVation plays against them, just get whittled down, you know? They just do such a good job of slowly picking all their fights correctly that eventually they're, you know, sometimes 60 supply ahead. And it's even difficult to tell when that moment was where they started to win because it's so many small victories. We'll see if that game is going to be the case this time around. I definitely will say Solar should have an easier time than on most maps surviving the attacks. It should be closing the game that will be the real difficulty for him there.
So we see now INnoVation is pushing again. Really interesting to see INnoVation is always pushing out on the map when his upgrade just finished. As we see here, the 2-2 is about to finish as well. And now he's got Widow Mines with this army as well. And these Mutalisks might actually be caught out of position here for Solar. We'll see INnoVation can actually take advantage of this, but he doesn't.
He's going to keep coming down now. And he's going to try to attack in on the side where there's no creep. He has 1 or 2 booby trap Widow Mines over there in case his opponent doesn't engage him. Now you got to be careful here. These Banelings are not connecting effectively at all.
And looks like,
wow, completely shut down that counter. That means that push can then come down here and try to reinforce with the rest of this. They're going to be making a beeline with this army over here. Now he's trying to milk out the Widow Mine shots here. I'm not sure how effective it's going to be.
Oh, that splash damage from the Widow Mine, I think, did a lot of damage on the... It was either the Baneling or the Widow Mine. Looks like Solar's actually moving out here. He's got to be careful. Oh, snipes that Widow Mine. That was really lucky there. Now, INnoVation has to move back. He doesn't have that Widow Mine bulk that he needs to deflect his army.
Well, Solar did a good job baiting out the Widow Mine shots. That was really nice. He's going to try to come in here and reinforce. He might want to try spreading his Widow Mines a little bit more so you know, the damage doesn't end up doubling up. INnoVation, again, continuing to push over here. Note the Marauder placement at times over there in the front so that the Banelings aren't being micromanaged. They are, in fact, going to be going into the Marauder. That's always a good trade if you're Terran.
Now we see here, Solar actually moving in with his Zerglings, baiting out those Widow Mine hits. Lots of damage onto the Marines through the splash, and I think Solar's going to defend this. He's still got Banelings trying to attack those Marines, but I think this is just way too many Mutalisks.
Yeah, in the end, it's just too many Mutas.
Yeah, now he has to move back.
And he's actually going to try to chase down.
This Widow Mine! Oh.
Big hit there, big plays. Obviously, he needs to get an Overseer over here because those 3 Widow Mines are about to activate. But that was a big play. He has a lot of Mutalisks out here. And that was impressive. The Banelings did enough damage that the Mutas could come in there and clean house.
Yeah, the most important thing there is that Solar was able to keep those Mutalisks. If he lost most of those Mutalisks, he probably would have gone even with INnoVation, and INnoVation would feel more comfortable right now. But he kept that bulk of the Mutalisks. He didn't really lose that many. And cancel here from Solar with that counterattack. INnoVation is struggling to take that 4th, and
now, there's been some predictability in the way this game's looked so far. Like we said earlier, Terran will have a harder time pushing due to the distance and due to Solar's good creep spreading. Now, what I did not expect was that Solar would be able to keep Terran off of more bases here. So that might be something that will really hurt him later on. And part of this is because the Ling Mutatech and with Banelings there is so mobile that you can still really put the pressure on the Terran. Lings and Mutas are so fast.
Yeah, especially on creep, they just zip through the map, and especially on a large map like Ruins of Seras, you really need that creep spread. And honestly, the Mutaling on a cross-spawn match like this, it's the only viable composition, honestly, for a Zerg. But we see here INnoVation taking out that 5th base, but Solar reacting by taking another base there at the bottom right. As we see a drop here, we'll see how much damage that does.
Okay, Terran beginning to back up. I really do worry for INnoVation sometimes. Sometimes these army setups are just a little bit too small, but this is the play he needs. A drop over here to try to pull the Mutas back with a solid push headed southbound over here.
Yeah, this drop did its job. It lure the army back of Solar, and Solar's actually caught in a really difficult position here. He's up the ramp, but there's no surface area for him to try to approach his army.
Note the Widow Mine spreading here.
Solar, a lot of Baneling hits there. A nice drop there as well at the main of Solar from INnoVation, and where's the Ultralisk? He needs the Ultralisk to help flex his army.
Well, they're coming in here now, but is it ill-fated? He's going to move in here now, and so many Widow Mine hits are connecting. But it looks like the Zerg, if he could just get us around over here.
Oh, that Widow Mine, though, takes out those Banelings, but these Ultralisks are chasing away. And, a nice Baneling hit there, but Sol has to move out. He needs to keep these Ultralisks alive.
Okay, he's coming down here now, trying to just get these Ultras as fast as he can. They are pretty badly bruised. It is actually dead even supply right now. Continuing to push. Widow Mine's, though, not in a fantastic position just yet. He needs to get a few more set up if he wants to do the damage he's going to need to do. It also does look like, oh my god, he needs to get that too.
Yeah, this lovely position here from Solar, because he's got this army here at the bottom base connecting to 4th and 5th. So if INnoVation decides to go for that 5th base, he can easily defend that with that army. As we see here, the bulk of the Mutas is still around, and he's going to slap this Medivac off. That is a big win there from Solar. INnoVation has one less Medivac with Marine to work with.
All right, now we have the planetary set up here, but there's no turrets, so this base is far from safe if Mutas come in over here. Liberators are going to come down. This is sort of a counterattack here, try to draw the Mutas back. Mutas are going to come up here, but it looks like Terran just gets there in the nick of time.
See these Mutas doing some SAV damage, but these Liberators, they're just sitting there as well.
Well, you got to use them. You got to use them. They're only good if you do what they got to do.
That was his window of opportunity to do damage, because those Mutalisks are at the north. It takes a long time to get from the top to the bottom, and those Liberators, without those Mutalisks following them, they could have done a lot of damage, but INnoVation was very lazy there, didn't deploy those.
Oh, he just was not multitasking as much as he needed to.
And that's really weird
now,
to say.
The fact that they actually are going to get back there, good connects, by the way, with the Widow Mine. The fact that they are going to be able to get back home, they can still be used for a push later on. INnoVation now maxing out. Note the Zerg has expanded closer towards the same direction that Terran is currently expanding to in the corners of the bottom right quadrant. And we've got some pretty huge Widow Mine connections on the Mutalisk pack. So that actually might allow him in this push to destroy this base up here ahead.
As we see here, a large army here from Solar. Those Mutalisks taking the charge. Oh, nice liberation zones there from those Liberators. And I think Solar has to move back here.
Yeah, he certainly does. The Mutas are not strong enough as it is. We've also had some drops over here on the left, in the center left spot, so he's keeping control of that. INnoVation still is somewhat in control of this game. He just needs to actually stamp out these expansions.
Oh, nice liberation zones there from INnoVation. He's actually zoned out the army of Solar, because now Solar can't really defend that 6th base there. As that is so many Liberators here with the liberation zones, but it looks like it's going to flank here.
The Mutas are getting shredded up. There is so much down here for Terran. The Ultras cannot get a good connection to the liberation zones. Are destroying the Ultras, and the Marines now driving back the Corruptors. This base down here will be taken out.
And I think INnoVation's going to take this game. I mean, I don't know what he's remaxing on, but I don't think it will be enough here. Those Liberators just did way too much damage. Those Banelings did not get enough hits onto that army of INnoVation.
This is really him going for the juggler here, by the way. Notice he's not even really fully focusing down that expansion. He's much more interested in just getting a better position, because if he can cut off these two bases from anything else, he's pretty much going to be able to take out the entire bottom part of the map. And this is a pretty decisive play right now from INnoVation. And I think there's only a few more moments that Solar can hang on. He has to muster enough of an army to take out the remainder of this, and it just doesn't seem like he has enough.
Yeah, those Banelings there in that battle didn't do the damage that he wanted to.
GG! INnoVation does it and takes out Solar in the classic way that INnoVation always kicks ass.
Really, really good macro there from INnoVation. A lot of nice positioning there from INnoVation as well with those Liberators, and I think INnoVation's one of those players where the later you get into the game, it's just harder and harder to finish him off. And
yeah, exactly.
It's obvious that Solar had no idea how to win that game once INnoVation took that 4th. I think when he got that 3rd base, when they were playing on that 3 base, it was definitely Solar's game to win, but once INnoVation took that 4th, he just powered on, and Solar couldn't keep up with him.
You know, there's always like a general theme, right, when you're pushing a Terran versus Zerg in Starcraft 2, and even though we've had new units that have changed that, like, you know, combination of tank medevac, Widow Mine, there's so many different components. Liberators, INnoVation, once he gets his bearings there, he's always able to use the combination of the units to pretty much come out ahead. Also note, he didn't try to focus down the expansion at the bottom right or the expansion at the bottom center. He actually just dove through, leaving 1 or 2 Marines stimming to hit that hatchery. He got all the way there, and he basically killed 3 bases in one sweep because he got to that key point where the rally would be interrupted. Zerg, a lot of times if you watch games, occasionally Terran pushes in. This is specifically in Starcraft 2. If they get into the center of where all the hatches are going to rally towards each other, and they can hold that for like 20 seconds, everything that's spawning is dying and not able to group up, and they pretty much win the game there. Especially
when you have a unit as a Terran like the Liberator, because the Liberator is so good at controlling space, and the way that Ruins of Seras is made with the Liberators, and you control that small pocket of area that combines all those bases, Zerg can't do anything because the other attack moving into a pocket of space where they can't do that damage.
I mean, Liberators really allow you to lock in a spot like in a pretty crazy manner. I mean, it's funny because we saw those Liberators sent out when the Mutas were attacking, right? But they didn't set up. But you know what? He at least got them back because he can't afford to lose Liberators in the later part of the game. And he just sets up a few solid liberation zones. Also, something else important to note is that the Mutas, I think there were 2 really important Widow Mine hits that just did not allow the Mutas to have the vitality to actually survive a big battle. And you really have to have that combination of Mutas with a solid ground force, Ultras, and enough links.
Yeah, especially in Terran versus Zerg, where the Terran always keeps rallying units over and over. It doesn't give Mutalisks time to regenerate, right? Because in StarCraft 2, obviously Mutalisks regenerate health a lot quicker than they do normal Zerg units. And yeah, I think those Liberators, the way that the Liberators were positioned, and how INnoVation kept Solar away from that choke point. There was no real good surface area for Solar to work with.
And it's also important to note, when the Mutas are damaged, like, you don't want to be using Transfuse on the Mutas. You need that for the Ultras when you're back at home. So, I mean, one mistake with the Mutalisks and the game can really spiral out of control pretty quickly. And if you notice, INnoVation was very intentionally sprinkling Widow Mines in different parts of the map. So especially on a map that big, it's nearly impossible for Zerg to try to keep up and find where all the Widow Mines are. And because Mutas are necessary not just to defend against drops, which can be coming from anywhere, but also they have to harass, a lot of times you could just set up certain booby-trapped part of the maps. And those Mutas, you know, we saw a couple good connections there. That's enough, because with Stim Marines, I mean, they deal damage so insanely fast. If the Mutas aren't strong enough, they don't have the sustainability to be in the fight, and they ultimately fall apart.